Call the meeting to order. We have Mr. Harrell has some issues. He's a guest with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Patteson. Just had some follow-up questions for the meeting, in preparation for the board meeting next week, Doug. So I'll just kind of go through them one by item. It'll be real quick, and then I'm going to wind up having to excuse myself from this committee meeting. So, can you give me an update on the LOI for Ball Drive? I understand that you have sent some additional requests for information from the realtor. Have you heard back from that individual yet?
Okay, oh, right. No, okay, so, well, let me pull up the email. So the realtor, okay, so he got back to us and he simply said, do you have an idea on pricing? The client needs to make a decision of the limited options. To which I replied, we really need to get firm numbers on the jobs and the CapEx. I sent him the worksheet because we had gotten some conflicting numbers on jobs and CapEx. And I told him, we'd be willing to help explore incentives as part of the deal. But then I also passed along to him what the Assets Committee had recommended as a counter based on what we know now. And he has not got back to me.
How long has that been?
Excuse me, did you all want me to sit in on this meeting or not? Either way is all right with me.
We can just call you when we're ready to discuss the thing that's pertinent.
It was 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Okay, so an unreasonable period of time hasn't passed then.
Yeah. I'll reach out to him again and say, hey, what do you think?
I just want to make sure that I want to gauge the level of seriousness on this. Because normally when an agent puts a letter of intent on, they've got personal money riding on.
Yeah, they do.
On making the deal happen. And if there appears to be a lack of urgency, it throws up a red flag for me. It doesn't sound like there's a lack of urgency right now, but if time continues to progress without action, then it's something that we need to address. Because they're asking for terms and how long to take that property off the market for their due diligence and so forth. And I don't want to be caught up in a fishing expedition.
Right.
So, and that's kind of where it is right now.
Yeah, and they're looking at this particular client's looking around the states.
Sure, and I understand that, and that's what they should be doing. So,
And that LLC actually, or that, that letter of intent actually expired on the 6th of September.
Yeah, well,
So,
and they could extend it.
Well, absolutely, but we haven't heard that yet,
Right.
Other than them coming back, so,
Okay.
yeah.
okay. So, you heard from them a couple of days ago on that, which is fine. You've conceptually presented to them what is on our mind as it relates to how this thing can be structured.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Let's talk about East Main for a second.
Okay.
So, how many subs have been in there, or contractors for the apartment building?
We've received 2 bids,
Okay, good.
and I'm working with 2 more companies to provide us a 3rd and possibly a 4th bid.
Okay.
As soon as I receive that 3rd and 4th bids, then we could conceivably award.
Okay. And when are those bids due? Those additional bids due?
I don't know that we set a due date. I told them I need them as soon as possible.
Okay.
So I explained the situation. We're trying to get the tenants back in by September 30th. So
We're fast, and I would think that we've put it out for bid. We've had 2 bidders that have been serious. If they don't, by close of business today, get something in, I would strongly suggest that we list the bidders, go ahead and move forward, award the contract to the, and move on and start the work. If you really want those people.
3, right?
We do. I think the best thing to do, and I don't disagree with what Jory has said, is to reach out to those two parties. Realistically, we should have put a deadline on it. If we didn't if we left it open, kind of shame on us. But ideally, we should have put a deadline on it. If they've been out to the property and they've looked at it, I think it's fair that we give them the opportunity to at least try and post. But I think we need to represent to them a date and time. So maybe by next Wednesday, because then that can come in, and then the board can look at it on Friday and pull the trigger on it, ideally.
Good idea.
And then as soon as it's structurally safe and David Beam approves that it is, and I think we can move the guys back in.
Has
Very anxious.
Total, have they been out? Did he meet with you yet? Caesar, did he meet with you?
Yeah, and that was
Then
Caesar.
I will pull his chain to get that bid into you today.
Well, so with Caesar, there's a licensing issue.
Oh, for him, okay.
So we're working through that.
So,
because
well,
I
he
can't
may
accept
not
it.
qualify then.
Does he not have a Class C or a Class?
David Beam discovered that a license he had expired July 31st, and I think he's looking at remedying that and getting back in good graces with
Deport, yeah. He is a contractor, just to disclose, that I use commercially. He's done several big jobs for associations of mine over in Winchester over the last 3 or 4 years, and has always been incredibly diligent, neat, clean, fine work, and solved issues that literally have been issues for years at some properties, and we've not had any problems since he's fixed them, so.
Okay. And keep in mind, there's nothing wrong with utilizing our professional resources.
Okay.
As long as we put this out to bid publicly and nobody is receiving any type of favorable information, there's nothing wrong with myself or Joy or whomever reaching out to our professional resources.
I've called 8 or 9 of them, and
Okay.
several just didn't return my call.
It's a small project and it's one of those nuisance projects, unfortunately.
Under 20 grand, so we
Yeah.
don't have to do an RFP.
Okay.
And people, they can say all day long the economy isn't good, but at least in my business, I'm finding that it is harder and harder to get
The
folks.
economy's fine.
And that's what I'm saying, they're all busy, so they, to get someone to come that's quality is not easy.
Okay. So we're in agreement by any remaining parties, they need to be contacted and by Wednesday.
I think we may have a third and possibly a fourth bid by today.
Okay.
But before we could accept Caesar's, we would have to have proof that his licensure is up to date.
Okay. I want to make sure that everybody's given a fair opportunity to post and to fairly review what's in the scope to make sure that, again, everything is being covered. So.
They've all received Dan Hotek's engineering.
Okay. B&G Goods, does Jordy have any other questions on
No, not at all.
Right, B&G Goods, the tenant is out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Have we walked that building since they have exited?
I would say no. I've been in there since they've exited, yes, but to say that I've officially inspected it or something.
Well, I don't know how much there is to inspect because the building is in difficult shape. So I just want to make sure that they have everything out of there that they're supposed to have out of there, that the building is secure all the way around, that we have the keys and everything else.
I do have that out,
Okay.
the keys to the market,
Mhm.
and I've got the drill bit to get the plywood off the apartment to show the contractors
Okay.
inside.
Do we know locks changed, anything like that? Is that a requirement? Is it padlocked out front with a chain so the unauthorized entry cannot occur?
Well, it's padlocked outside and they gave me the keys, and whether or not
We
they
should
go
probably get
downstairs
it.
or not.
I don't have any reason to believe that
Right.
nobody's going to go in there and do anything.
I agree.
I'm just saying from a security standpoint, we ought to have our own lock over there.
Okay.
We should rekey that, I agree. I always do.
Okay.
Anything else on B&G? Okay. Happy Creek roof bids?
We haven't received any yet, but they're not due till October the 11th. We have a
Perfect.
pre-bid next week.
Okay. I'm gonna be out of town, so I can't assist you with that, but,
Fred Andre
Fred
is our
Andre's handling that.
architect, and
Okay.
he'll be out there, and it's a non-mandatory.
Okay.
So he'll be at the site.
good. Is Andre going to receive the bids and review them and then pass them along, or is it just gonna be a pass-through and let us review them?
We'll receive the bids, but we'll most certainly consult with him
Okay.
to make sure that everything's on the up and up with the
Okay.
bids.
That's fine. Just want to make sure that we have a process and understanding in place for that, which is good. Anything else with that property that we need to be concerned about?
Not right now.
Is there any other activity on the B&G? I'm not talking about the rental stuff, but I'm talking about the actual. The actual.
We have another interested party, and I'm working with a realtor to set up a show.
Okay.
Is that still tomorrow?
Yeah, hopefully,
Okay.
yes,
All
yeah.
right.
Coming in on Saturday?
That's all right, whatever it takes.
Okay.
I'll show up at 5:30 Sunday morning if we're serious about it. I will, I'll show up in the middle of the night, we can sell that place.
That might be the time to show it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Sometimes the truth hurts. So, okay, good. So there's activity on that, which is good. All right, so let me talk about the afternoon since I'm the one that's really kind of running that show. I did see the email from the developers on that yesterday. I did send out to Jory and I did send out to you my recommendations as it relates to the lease and the EDA's appropriate course of action. In my mind, I'm not an expert on everything, so I'm relying on Jory to review it, and I'm relying on you to review that as well, to make sure that it makes sense. And ultimately, we're going to have our attorney, whomever that may be at the time, provided that we can come to an agreement on restarting this project, to make that official, obviously. So I can't get into the weeds on what my recommendations are too much. That's a closed session item that will be discussed next week. We'll have a full report that Jory can discuss next week, but you've seen it. If you've opened it, it's in a bullet point. And I have marked
Briefly
up.
saw it, I'll read it over this
Okay,
weekend.
I have marked everything up as it relates to my concerns and my wish list on that. And I would like to be able to get that back out to the developer end of next week, based upon board approval or based upon board approvals, based upon what the asset committee recommends. Like to get the idea out, not a tender offer out, but an understanding conveyed to the developer as to where the EDA board feels, this needs to be re-looked at to make it more advantageous for both parties involved. That would be my goal.
I was gonna say, so you just said if this goes out, and I did read it, and I do agree literally with all of your points. Is your vision for me, if we get it in the board package for close, the board review it, make any changes or accept it as is, and then we at that point put out a letter the following week saying, here's what we're looking at so we can move this project along? That was the concept, okay?
100%. That
All
would
right.
be the action.
That's
plan.
what I want to make sure.
Yes, that would be the action plan on that.
Okay.
Okay. I do want to schedule a tour of the properties, of the major properties that are out there. Again, I keep saying this, I'm gone next week, and I know that Jeff is gone too, and I know that Jeff had indicated that he wanted to be part of that tour. I'm certainly welcome anybody that wants to tag along with that. Don't know if that needs to be a publicly announced meeting.
Probably.
Probably so. I don't know if we need to, if people are going to tag along on that tour, if that's permitted.
Guys wanna go on a tour?
Which one is what?
Of all of our properties, we're gonna do a tour
Yes,
of our
if the
properties.
assets committee or any other members of the board go to tour the property.
I've seen most of it. I've
Probably
actually,
good. We got nothing else.
believe it or not, McDonald took Ray and I when we first came on.
Good trying to call you back, by the way, about the Equus building, and I
Maybe
think I
the,
got the wrong number for you.
Maybe
oh, yeah, okay, well,
the first Friday in October, if you're in town.
We didn't have
Might not
anything to do
be
with it,
that.
so I don't want to
Blue
sound like
day.
the rooster taking
Okay,
credit
that
for the
might not be
sunrise, but we're doggone glad it's here, obviously.
All right, if we can circle back on this, that's okay. So I'll put together a calendar based upon my travel schedule. I know I'm gone part of the first week, early in the week, in the first week of October, but later in that week. And it's not all the properties. I'm not concerned about looking at the apartments and B&G goods. I really want to inspect Ball Drive and Progress Drive, and maybe even the fairground, even though it's, it's going to be well under contract ideally. So at least look at the property. So.
And also too, just an update for me, I think even the vacant lots where they're located, I mean,
Sure.
visually, and I remember several of them had some challenges as far as building, so it's kind of nice to also have a refresher of maybe what some of the issues may be or not be of marketability.
Yeah, the 5
So-
acre one is damp. It's
Mhm.
got, I think it's got fire retention. It's
Yes.
kind of swampy, so unless we had a beaver or a muskrat interested in it.
And we might, you never know, some sort of waterworks, I don't know, but I'm just saying that it would be nice to have an idea of what is truly good marketable property and others that may be more challenging and where we are.
Yeah, the 23 acre one's pretty free and clear. The 53 acre one has a couple of right of ways.
Mhm.
So you can't build on certain areas of that
Yes.
53 acre tract.
Okay.
Okay, then the last property that I wanted to discuss was Fairground Road, obviously. We understand that we do have a contract on that that's come forward.
Proposed contract.
Proposed
Hasn't been
contract.
signed yet.
Has not been ratified yet. If the Assets Committee can
Mhm.
review that for their ratification, that would be great. I have looked at it. I have a question on one of the items.
I haven't really, but I will look at it today.
Yeah.
So the idea of that would be to try to get that ratified next week.
Mhm.
Yeah, they want.
If not, have Dr. Patteson sign off on his portion today and Mr. Daly next week as well, so.
I think, and then they'll have a study period there, so.
Correct,
Mhm.
that is correct. And then my last comment is, it was brought up in one of the board meetings about having a property packet for all of our properties that we currently are in possession. And it's really where the property is located, a GIS map, the tax information, why we own it, what the genesis of it was, what we owe on it, basically a snapshot. Is that in the works? Is that kind of been sidelined for now?
Gretchen's been working on that. I think she's got most of that completed.
I think she said that she literally had brought it and has it pretty well done, so we should probably get that
So we
printed
can
out.
have a look at it.
Well, let's look at the draft.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
let's see what we need to
And
do.
I think that may be what I think she may have done it for a few of the properties,
Yeah.
but maybe not all till.
And that's great.
You guys are happy with the format.
Perfect, yeah, I don't want her to get too far down the road in that without
Right.
agreeing on all of the information that needs to be in there. So if there's an opportunity that she can have to send, us a sample of what she's done on a property, then Dory and I can look at that and make any recommendations or give it the full stamp of approval, whatever the case may be. But we want to make sure that is a clean, concise packet for those properties that has all of the pertinent information in it that we would need. So,
Here's something that hasn't been given to us before. It doesn't have all the data on it, but it has some of the data on some of them. That
I like this. I think a GIS picture says
Yeah.
1,000 words.
Yeah.
And then we know exactly where in the county it's located, how big it is, You could put topo lines on it based upon the GIS website, so we can understand if it has grade challenges to it. If she's not familiar with getting on that site, if there's somebody from the county would help, I can certainly come in, so.
She lived on it in her former job, so
Perfect.
she's the maestro.
Okay, good. So, Dory, that's all I had from my standpoint. Is there anything else that you wanted to add in?
No, actually, you covered it all really well.
So I'm going to summarize what we've talked about. here. I'll send you off a draft for your report next week.
Okay,
And I'm going to try to call in if I can. Unfortunately, I got called up to New York a couple of days earlier than when I was supposed to go. The building's really not where it should be, so.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I need to go up there and put on my hard hat, so that's just the way it goes. So that's all I had.
okay.
So thank you for allowing me to take
Sure.
17 minutes of your time.
Okay, thank you.
I have to exit as I have other duties.
Sure.
Okay.
Day job, huh?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Well, I think the next first item on the agenda is the First Bank and Trust. And
Yes.
we discussed that in open session, everything, as far as you know.
I mean, we can, if that's up to you guys, we can talk about it in open, or we can talk about it in closed.
What do you think, Joe?
Well, it's a question of, because it is a contract, whether, there's any strategy that we want
Probably
to
not
discuss
doing
in
it.
closed session. So I would think that would not be a bad idea to do that in closed and then come out.
Do we want to go into closed now, or do we really want to discuss the items that we know we want to discuss in open first? And then go?
Well, we don't, a couple of things, we don't have any, already discussed insurance, so we don't have insurance information back, but Joey's gonna,
I'm working
you
on
know,
insurance.
he's working on that. And, were we able to get a P&L statement yet?
So, I talked to Heather Tweedy,
Mhm.
and she said that she needed me to get from Ivy at the county our expenses and deposits for the month of August, since we're within the fiscal agency period, and they've been handling all that. So as soon as we get those documents from Ivy, Heather will reconcile that with our QuickBooks records, and we should hopefully.
Well, that would have to, yeah, but that would have to be today. So the question is, do we need to go over and pick that up from Ivy or who, and bring it over? Because with Heather being here today, isn't Friday her only day that she's here? And if we're gonna do, and we had said, and she had, at the last meeting, she had indicated that there would be no issue with putting together a P&L statement for the month of August to present at our September meeting. So hopefully, what I'm getting at is that we need to get her the information before she gets in today. Either push her to send it over, the chart of accounts and all of that via email so that we can move forward and get her to do it, because we hopefully will get that P&L in the board package for next week.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do my best. So Heather's coming in at 1 o'clock today, so hopefully we'll have that information. She can produce it today or in time for the board.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that she's here today. If we don't have that P&L statement or P&L what she needs by 1 o'clock, the chances of her producing it for the next board meeting are probably next to none. So, the
Unless
upshot.
she could do it, or,
Yeah, and so, all I'm saying is that, we have to do a written report to go in to Ed by Monday. So we need to know by close of business today whether that's going to happen,
Okay.
so that in the report I can put that information in there.
Okay. I'd like to discuss the double draw controversy for the record. First of all, we still are looking into, other than the information that Dan and Wilson had sent a request for that money. The money was not used, except it was transferred in. Nothing was lost, nothing was stolen, nothing was misdirected, except that it did go into an account to pay for the police department things. And it has still been used for that, and the town has not been charged any interest until there was a disbursement of things. The question of me authorizing it, I've already told Josh that absolutely that I didn't. I just became secretary, I became treasurer at the end of October, and it wasn't until a resolution in December that I was authorized to do checks and stuff. And with that resolution, the checks would require, and anything would require two signatures. And the three people that could do a signature were Greg Blanton, the chairman, Bruce Drummond, the vice chairman, and me. And we did not make the request. And so the issue really, I think, has been blown out of proportion, a mountain out of a molehill, in the fact that we did not lose any of the money. It's been accounted for, and we did not charge interest to the town until the disbursements were made.
Right, we can get Carolyn in here, but
That would be
Carolyn
good.
provided me this email, and I can even show it to you guys if you want to see it, but basically, of the money that's been drawn down for requisitions 1 through 44, which is everything that's occurred so far on the project, that's $8,423,161.17. So with the 2 draws that came out in January and the money that was used, so that money came in out of the construction account into our checking account in January. And more was drawn down than was immediately
We discussed
needed.
the double draw thing.
But,
I was wondering,
51 cents worth.
okay, so the 2 draws that everyone's been talking about in January came out of the United Bank Police Department construction account loan. And both of those amounts of money went into our checking account. So there were draws there in the month of January that were paid out of that money, but there was obviously money left over. Okay, so there was more drawn down than was needed at the time. However, an accounting of that money has been kept within that account, and subsequent draws have been paid through February, March, April, May, June, July, August, right? What's left out of that, the balance on hand is $314,841.55.
Of which the town is not being charged a penny of interest.
Right, so if you guys remember seeing that big spreadsheet that showed all the draws and all the principal amounts, and then the interest, be it at 1.5 or 3%. So it's my understanding from the meeting that we had with the town that we were in agreement on the principal amount, the $8,423,161.17. And we were in agreement with the method of calculation on the interest, and that being, interest is calculated on the amount of each draw from the time the payment was made.
Well, it was actually the date of requisition.
The date of requisition.
And-
Date of
And
requisition.
the town did that initial calculation. We just used what they did.
Okay. But I guess the point is, so if there was a draw, and I'm just using theoretical, on February 22nd for $100,000, then it would be from the date of requisition that interest on that particular 100,000 would be calculated and carried forward from that date. So it would be like that for all the draws. So the interest on each individual draw would only be charged to the town from the date of the draw, not from the date that
Date of
those two.
Date of the
I'm sorry,
requisition,
date
not
of
date of
requisition. Not from the date that we pulled money out of the construction account into our checking account. So we're not passing along that interest to the town just for, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Well, my main question with that is how y'all didn't know you had leftover money from that first draw? That you didn't get the...
Yeah, and again, I've been here since May, so
You
I
have,
don't know how.
that's true, and you have to understand that happened on January 8th and January 30th, okay? So I came over here at the end of January, but there was a lot to do with reconciling the debt. So I was not able to get any information until like April on those draws, when finally I got some information from United Bank. Okay, so I think that was just happened because of the transition and everything, and that's probably why nobody knew, you know, or really understood that there was money left over.
And the bank, for the second one, the bank just put it in without being asked?
I don't know, I have received, to my knowledge, we have not received any information from the bank with an actual draw request that was signed off on. If if one exists, we don't have it, as far as I know. But beyond that, it's like we've used the money to pay the town and police department requisitions as they come over. We've not used that money for anything else. We will continue to use it to pay the town and police department requisitions.
Right, so we have the engineer.
When did you call in, Carol?
I came over here right at the end of January. I think it was like January 30th, but I was only working like 2 days a week maybe then. And, you know, it just took a while to sort through all of that.
The first request was made by Jennifer. I think Dan went and told me at the end of November, and that took till January 8th, and the next one was 2 days somehow.
January 30th.
And that didn't take 3 weeks to go through, or a month. So why did that take so long?
I don't know the answer to that. And you know, I wasn't here.
We're still trying to.
Doug
put all
wasn't
this
here.
together.
We don't know the answer to that question. Okay?
But I guess we have not seen, and correct me if I'm wrong here, we haven't seen any documents signed by anybody on the board that was authorized to actually execute the draw. So Dan and BJ may have requested one and said, hey, we got bills here we need to pay.
Did they might have done it in the past a little bit before it actually happened, or right around?
We don't know. I mean,
As far as Dan and BJ
Mhm.
requesting, when did they make it? Do we know when Dan and BJ requested the money, you know, generally speaking?
I don't know about the January 8th draw, how much they were involved in that. I really just don't know. There were emails to United Bank and that BJ was involved in for the January 30th
For the
draw.
30th draw, that was when.
So, you know, I don't know.
We're still trying to piece this together.
But the fact of the matter is, it's been used for the project that it was drawn down on. We're not trying to charge the town interest on it from the date of draw, only from the date of requisition. And so,
So as far as the mechanics of how it happened, there's some missing pieces there that we need to derive.
And like you just said, that probably slipped through the cracks because everything was in transition.
that's what I think happened, but you know, you sit here and you try to think back about how it could have happened. I don't know how it happened.
Speculate.
That's the thing. You know, I
They're
don't,
still putting the puzzle pieces together.
and we may, who knows, we may never know. But if it's used for the project that was drawn down
Yeah,
for,
that we do know.
It's like-
We are confident that the money hasn't been.
Will the key part of it be finding a signed requisition or?
I'm sorry.
a-
I'm sorry, Roger, what?
A signed, you said you hadn't found a signed request
Right.
that the bank had from somebody over here.
That's
That would be a
authorized.
key part of it.
It would be,
Absolutely.
yeah, it would be helpful, but I haven't been able to.
And if there is
find it.
nothing like that, would the bank have to explain why they did it, or could they explain why they did it?
I don't know the answer to that question.
That would be a question to the bank.
And if the draw takes from the end of November to January 8th to go through, then January 30th could have been requested by anyone back to November who had the authority to do it.
But the
I mean,
time-
if it takes
no,
that long to go through.
But it may not. I mean, the timeline is you have to remember November. I don't know about your business, but I can tell you that business almost shuts down in November and December. It's
Okay.
holiday time. And
That's
you
fine.
have, and I really believe that a lot of that is due to holiday time. You come back in January and people are ready to start the new year and they're ready to do business.
Yeah.
But when you start calling people in November and December, how many times do you get? I'm on vacation, I'm taking the last of my, and things just move slowly. So I truly believe that time frame was due to the holidays as opposed to coming back in January when everybody is gung-ho to do business.
Okay.
That's that's what we think happens, but we do need more information, and like I say, I still haven't seen, I don't think any of us seen, where anyone on the board with authority to sign the documents to actually execute the draws, I haven't seen those documents if they exist.
But the
So that begs
takeaway-
a lot of questions.
Yeah, but the takeaway from this is that all the money that has been requisitioned has been used for the police department. There's not been any misuse of funds, and interest was not charged to the town inappropriately. So the takeaway is the process, while it may have been flawed on how that extra money got into the account, it has been used for the correct purpose with the correct amount of interest being charged to the town. So we may need to go back and find out, obviously, to get the process right. But the end result is there is no malfeasance on this part at all. It is, it was done properly and spent properly.
So, but of course, we do want to get to the bottom of the mechanics of how those two draws ultimately took place. And like I say, we just don't have all the pieces right now.
We don't.
We're going to continue to work on that. So.
I'm still curious how the bank just puts money in there without being asked. I mean, that's a question for the bank, but not y'all.
Question for the bank, and you know what? If you get the answer and it works out, would you give them my account number, please?
Well, and that's another, if the bank just puts money into, there was just a story out recently, 100,000 went into someone's account and they spent it, and we can't do that. You're supposed to give it back. You can't just spend money that the bank
Yes.
accidentally puts
Yes.
into your.
I mean, it's not just an award to you for being a good
Yeah.
customer?
So,
That's not apparently. Yeah, no, I
Perhaps
get
it
it, yeah.
going back.
Yeah, that we should have been going back and why it wasn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just have no idea.
Which United Bank is it? Is it the one here or is it a different one?
Here.
Yeah, well, let's see, wherever Peter Warren and Harry Smith are, I guess. Are they in Winchester?
Yeah, well, they had to approve it, but, I mean, it was, we're dealing with the bank here. And they're just local, they're up the echelon. Smith is the president of the bank, and he's in charge of loans and stuff, Warren is. So in other words, they gave approval to things apparently, but it's the bank here that was acted through, yeah.
So if we wanted to ask questions about their process of why they did it, would we talk to those people in Winchester probably? Would the local one send us to them? Or would there be somebody here we could contact?
That again would be a bank question.
Yeah.
I mean, we certainly,
Remind me before I leave to get whatever contact information you have on the bank, so I can give that a shot.
We like to get to the bottom of it too. So.
Okay, we need to move on. Do you have anything else for open session?
no, just the insurance which we've covered. I think everything else is pretty much property, and we've covered whether we're gonna get the P&L, and hopefully we will have that answer today. That'd be a good start. Before we go into closed session to see if we have that information.
Stretching that.
And other than that, it's pretty much going over what we're gonna need if we're gonna have all that information for the write-offs. So we can discuss
You wanna
that.
read us into
I can do that.
closed session?
I, Jory Martin, move that the Finance Committee of the EDA Board of Directors vote to go into closed meeting under the provisions of Section 2.2-3711 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act for the following purposes. Consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters regarding the provision of legal advice by such counsel. I further move the discussion will be limited to the discussion of loans, accounting debt service, and the aftermath.
Patteson, aye.
Martin, aye.
Okay, we're in closed session.